I guess it is just the audios.
But if you think we do, then go do something about it.
Go do something about it, Goy. Build your own. As they shut it down. I thought there was another clip here.
Been focused again on disrupting extreme.
Right, good one. He's got the same thought I had. Go straight to this clip.
ADL's been focused again on disrupting extremist threats since the 1930s in this country.
See, any white collective or white unity or being pro white people, they call it a white extremist threat. So you're not even allowed to like compete against them. They go, just compete against us. I mean, just work harder. You're just can't do anything. It's such bullshit.
ADL's been focused again on disrupting extremist threats since the 1930s in this country when we were engaged in
can we stop Chabad? I see Chabad as an extremist threat. Is that the way the game is played?
identifying and disrupting Nazi sympathizers in the United States. And in the 1950s, and we did.
Oh, what about King David sympathizers? The King David, they want to rule the world. What about Moshiach sympathizers?
With some degree of
are Moshiach sympathizers a extremist threat? What do you guys think?
Success. Again, identifying people who are sympathizing with the Third Reich and were in German American social clubs. Or
finding people that sympathize with Zionism and Israel.
Penetrated other parts of society. We identified them and shared that information with law enforcement. In the 1950s, we were very involved in helping to sort of stop the spread of the Ku Klux Klan, as well as groups like the John Birch Society, another kind of very awful group, or white citizens councils in the South of the United States who were fighting desegregation. ADL was very involved in that movement. In the 80s and 90s, we were very focused on after the rise of skinheads and other white supremacist groups, like the White Aryan Resistance and the Order and whatnot. So let me be clear. We have no friends in those right-wing extremist circles who remember the work that we've been doing, again, since the 1930s up till today.
Remember this? This was when they were just privately working with them. Now they're openly bragging about their partnership, the ADL with PayPal, which banned me, of course. It says, topics that get banned are anti-immigration, white advocacy, or nationalism. So just advocating for white people, you get banned by the group. That's where we're at. Where's the double standard one too? ADL hypocrisy. They say white nationalism is a euphemism for white supremacy. Where the ADL says on their website, Zionism is a nationalist movement of the and Zionism is the national movement of self-determination that they're allowed. And the ADL writes on their website, it is unrealistic and unacceptable to expect the state of Israel to voluntarily subvert its own sovereign existence and nationalist identity and become a vulnerable minority within what was once its own territory. But if you want that and you're white, it's evil and they work to shut you down in every shape and form. Let's hear an extended version of this.
One of the very...
Which, by the way, we're going to get to in a second. The ADL putting out this message because this guy Arvel, who I've debated before, and he had me on his show once. Although I've got issues with some idiots that he works with, his little thing here seems like they're not harming anybody to me. He bought like a bunch of acres and he's having white people go and live there to have like a little... I think it's in Arkansas, in the middle of nowhere. He's just trying to have a little thing to themselves. And the down, and they're all working, doing hit pieces, and they're trying to get the go after him legally, and their ADL is kvetching about it. So does the ADL kvetch about all of these goods in New York, where they'll only sell to others in their family, and they won't rent and sell to? Does ADL complain about that? How about the state of Israel? They want that to be the homeland of the. But it's evil, even to allow one group have a little thing. Okay, we're going to get into that in a second. I want to read the rest of Greenblatt here.
Common accusations against the ADL is that it does focus on groups that claim to represent the interests of white people. Do you think there's any truth to that you do perhaps focus more on white people more than anyone else?
Their website said if you Googled racism, the second or first results, this was in the past, was for racism, was the ADL, and it said essentially only white people can be racist, was the definition. He should have brought that up here. He's like, are you a little bit too anti-white? What do you think about being so anti-white?
Do you think there's any truth to that you do perhaps focus more on white people more than
and this is Visgrad, which is like pure Zionist propaganda.
Anyone else? The reason I ask this question is I think Israel has done, and by extension, the things right. And that is they have managed to preserve themselves as a group of people without a state. They've managed to successfully do that for a very long time. It's a wonderful saying that goes for as long as the Sabbath has kept it. To retain a respect for their traditions and
the Sabbath, and keeping kosher and circumcising and living in ghettos and not assimilating, and Christianity and Judaism has kept them a people that shall dwell alone and kept separate.
Values, even the unreligious respect for. They've managed.
Yeah. Resettle and conquer Gaza and the West Bank. They're allowed to go conquer the West Bank because they think God gave them the land and they could have communes. But Arvel can't do it in Arkansas. And then these bomb go, well, just outcompete us. Just work a little harder. Just start your own thing.
To have, especially well in Israel, Israel's the only Western country with an above a replacement level demographic rate. They've been very good at having strong borders. They've stuck together, right? And the fact of sticking together, the reason that they managed to survive.
Dude, is this the first time Greenblatt's ever been pressed on anything? Greenblatt doesn't do debates. He goes on in lectures and gets no pushback from all of mainstream media. That's what happens. I've never seen Greenblatt pressed in my life. Have you guys?
Out of state for so long is because they have stuck together. If, for example,
you're open borders for Europeans like Barbara Specter, but you're for strong borders of Israel. And you expect Europeans not to get mad at you about this.
There is a group of white Americans who wants to put the interests of white Americans first and says, okay, we are a group that is currently smaller and smaller as a percentage of the entire United States and the demographics are shifting. Is that something that is problematic?
It's an interesting question. I mean,
it's the big question. It's the question that everybody should be posing to you. Interesting question. Like it's what's on everybody's minds.
Look, the fact of the matter is I have no problem with anyone having pride in who they are and what they believe in.
Is that why? Go to the ADL hate symbol list. Every single ancient European symbol is on that list.
Values, to the extent that those beliefs and those values don't infringe upon me and don't encroach on my ability to lead a full, life based on, again, my values and beliefs. So I think typically the organizations who espouse a kind of white.
Does that mean that I can't be pro what I am and my nation and my people and my tribe? I can't be proud of who I am and criticize Judaism? Then I'm not allowed to?
Nationalism tend to have a view that's quite.
Dixon Uranus 87 cent $5 on Rumble. The concept of prejudice plus power, aka only whites can be racist, originated with Patricia Beidel-Padva, communist.
Interesting. Thank you.
Let's just say negative toward non-white people. I think there's lots of examples.
Let me bounce back on that. I don't think the attitude towards they put their own interests first. You see, it does.
Okay, yeah. What about the people that don't hate everybody else? You still go after them too. Give me a break. No hatred. You care about the rest of the world. You hope the best for the rest of the world, but you don't want to be replaced in your European countries. You don't want to be, you're going to defend yourselves. You're allowed to have a national tribal identity, just like every other group is allowed to. You don't hate anybody else. You still go after that. You still have a problem with that.
It's not necessarily exclusionary, right? You can put the interest of the group first and say, the reason
this guy's on point. This is nice.
I'm half Polish. I live in Poland. Half Polish. I spend most of my life in Poland. I'm a proponent of strong borders for a variety of reasons. And one of those reasons is I don't necessarily want to see the demographic fabric of my country change. I would like the people who come to be people who respect my country, who want to speak the language of that country and want to partake in that broader society. I don't think that mass migration will necessarily help retain those things.
I don't know if that's a white policy.
No, that's
I don't
just
know what that.
It's
no, that's an everybody policy. I don't want to see China get replaced by Africans. I don't want to go to Japan and see a bunch of Irish people. It's not a white thing. You're saying it's for everybody but white people is what you've been doing.
Those things.
I don't know if that's a white policy.
No, that's
I don't
just
know what that.
It's not a white policy. It's just a policy of putting my country and my people first. Look, my people happen to be 99% white, right?
Yeah, like you put your people first, and you're all about defending and having pride in your people. But if white people do that, you smear them and try to get them banned everywhere. Stop acting like you don't get the obvious fucking hypocrisy here.
Right, but so you can have that. I mean,
no
Japan
cursing.
For centuries was a fairly homogenous ethnic country for a bunch of different reasons: cultural reasons, geographic reasons, political reasons. I think that when we hear things like white rights in this country,
look at this. ADL, Zionism is nothing like white supremacy. So they can be supremacists. It's their law, it's their culture, it's their tradition, it's their religion. Like theirs is worse than than any white supremacy I've seen. Chosen by God, destined with their king to rule over the nations, blot out the memory of Amalek.
Thorsrune sent $5 on Rumble. Glad to see the momentum finally building against these Abrahamics. Like listening to your ex live stream the other day with Height. Glad he's finally seeing the death cult for what it truly is.
It's good to see. I think lots of people are starting to get it. For sure. What else do I have here? ADL, white supremacy. Oh, that's the same one. Yeah, they're all over white supremacy. Greenblatt's goal, job description is very simple. Protect the... All right, let's see. back it up here.
Harkens back to a time like in the 1950s, the groups like the White Citizens Councils, the KKK, that use that agenda to, degrade and undermine black people. Like there's a real history there.
An overlap.
So like when we talk about something like strong borders, look, I think we all want strong, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I think it is a totally defensible and reasonable position to want strong borders and immigration policy that, number one, allows the government to have some degree of, effective control over who's coming into their country. Number two, make sure that as people come into the country, they are obeying the laws and that they are assimilating into the country to a degree.
Well, assimilating into the country means you still get demographically replaced, though, Greenblatt. Do you want a bunch of Africans to flood into Israel and start practicing Judaism? Oh, no, you're the holy seed and the chosen bloodline, and no, you can't have that. How about the ADL? How about you at the border pushing for mass immigration and taking in unlimited refugees and all the rabbis signing up and your ADL rabbi touting your being the leaders of diversity? How about Barbara Specter, who says that Europe won't survive if they don't take in masses of foreigners? Pretty amazing. All right, this is what the ADL says about the little white-only commune that Arvels tried to set up here. Residents of Northeast Arkansas should be deeply concerned about a white supremacist group's attempt to develop 160 acres near Ravenden. The group allegedly plans to exclude non-white individuals from land ownership by limiting sales to individuals who are white Christians or pagans of European heritage. In addition, I love how that's in quotes, European heritage is in quotes. In addition, its founders have declared ambitions to expand and create whites-only enclaves in other locations. So whites aren't even allowed to just set up their own thing and be around their own people, huh? Don't blacks like try to do this type of stuff too? By the way, I heard that if they would have said it was a religious thing, like only Christian or only pagans, or created some new religion that's like a syncretism of like all European faiths, they might have been able to get away with it from like the religious clause, is what I heard people speculating. But like, do Jews like are like, we want to live with you, white supremacist. We want to live around you, goy. We have to. Otherwise, we're gonna come after you legally. It failed and the blacks stole the money. I know, I saw that too. They are on about sending Palestinians to Ireland, right? Yeah, they say that type of shit too. A Wakanda town in Jerusalem. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure they'd be fine with that as long as they assimilate. Okay. We believe this development not only revives discrediting and reprehensible forms of segregation, it should also be illegal. How about self-determination? We always talk about it's anti-Semitic to not give right to self-determination. It should also be illegal under the Arkansas Fair Housing Act and the Fair Housing Act of 1968 and other federal state civil rights laws. We urge Arkansas Fair Housing Commission, local elected officials, and law enforcement to act swiftly to ensure that Northeast Arkansas remains a welcoming and inclusive community, not a refuge for intolerance and exclusion. ADL Director Friedman, this is the greatest fear of the families getting together and living together in the woods. Arvel says, I'm more concerned about this personally. Looks like he's gotten like 7,000 new followers. He had a Give, Send, Go that I think raised a bunch of money as well. We'll play his clip in a minute here. So you can have your whole country, but we can't have a small town. Build your own. Oh, you're not allowed to. Oy vey, they're using our strategy. They can have in Palestinian land, in Palestinian territory, but white people can't even have white-only areas in European countries or America. That's freedom. Okay. Here's Arvel. I haven't watched his video yet. 18,000 likes. He's got a Give, Send, Go. This is giving him more publicity and the best advertising campaign he probably could have ever got, unless they get him shut down. But even if they do shut him down, they'll just switch the LLC, probably change some paperwork, resubmit, make a couple changes and edits to the situation, resubmit some paperwork, and they probably get it going again. Just make it pagan over, no Christians allowed, pagan only. then it'll be allowed maybe.
For their readers to contact 10 days ago, someone on the r/ put out a thread about return.
And I had a debate with him. He's not really a Christian. He's like a Platonist type of weird Christian. But I had a debate with him on who hosted that. Anybody remember in the chat who hosted that debate I did with him? Oh, Keith Woods. That's right, Keith Woods. Nick wanted it to happen apparently because Nick couldn't do it himself for some reason. Nick Fuentes. So, and then he had me on a show and we talked about God and stuff. He's been very nice to me. I like him. Very respectful. I heard he's from SoCal too. He looks like a Roman emperor or something, a Roman sculpture.
10 days ago, someone on the r/ put out a thread about Return to the Land. Return to the Land is a private association that facilitates white intentional community. We believe that people have the right to freely associate however they choose. For us, our shared European heritage and ancestry is very important. So we have online groups and currently one physical community here in Northeast Arkansas of a few dozen people. I have no problem with their own communities for their own people. In fact, they have many dozens of intentional communities around the world and a whole nation state to themselves.
Right.
I have no problem with Native Americans having their own communities or black people.
Yep.
There was a black intentional community that started.
I support Wakanda.
No one has a problem with that.
Wakanda supporter.
Jews on Reddit, however, absolutely take issue with what we're doing. We are in a rural area that's already predominantly white. We're not depriving anyone of housing. We developed this land from scratch, and it's only 150 acres. Plenty of private individuals have far more land than that.
Yeah, no live with these, from their perspective, like white supremacist lilies. Nobody even go there. But this is their biggest concern, and they're running around trying to shut it down. Like, it almost shows that how this is what they're scared of. Creating a model, a beta test that could be scaled to other places. It seems like they're concerned that actually is an IRL threat to them. They got to nip it at the bud.
And no one's allowed on that land. We want to decide who we allow in our private association and who we don't, but it's an intentional community. We don't even sell real estate. We've done everything we can to abide by the letter of the law of the Fair Housing Act. Despite that, these are trying to organize a harassment campaign against us, conspiring to deprive us of our civil rights to freely associate.
And I don't know if you use the word, but self-determination. That's their go-to word. Zionism's the right to self-determination. Israel has the right to self-determination.
Defamed us, absolutely misrepresented.
Who wants to bet it was Fair Housing Act? I bet you look into that. I know, like the Hart-Celler Act. It's probably related.
And they put out a call for their readers to contact local government, the Fair Housing Commission, the governor's office, media, activist groups. They are trying to shut us down.
Yeah, they don't want to nip it in the bud. They want to snip it in the tip and shut it down and snip it in the tip. Good one. Jam pan. Funny.
We absolutely have the moral high ground here, and everyone can see it.
Yep.
Also,
such a moral high ground. I like Arvel. Some of the people that also support Return to the Land are lying asshole kooks. But Arvel did nothing wrong.
Really not in a great place when it comes to its PR at the moment. So while they're at their weakest, they are attacking us, absolutely punching down, targeting a small rural neighborhood when, like the Forward, a major is writing a hit piece about us. The ADL, a massive
they frame it as no too. Like, we demand to go into your little white commune. Amazing. Is it legal? Hey, go build your own. Broke the law that we got passed, so you couldn't do this. And in this article, they even say, like, not to shit on it, but like their little acres here are like huts and small little dwellings. It's like basic stuff. And they're and trying to shut it down so hard.
Major
Kino 56 cent $5 on Rumble. To find out who rules over you, find out who you can't boycott.
That's one of them. Can't criticize, can't boycott.
Publication is writing a hit piece about us. The ADL.
Let's ask it is legal, okay? Good one.
A massive organization is issuing a statement condemning us. They have all this wealth and power and influence, and they are using it to attack like a few white families on private land in a predominantly white area. This is insane. So they have full-time workers right now dedicated to removing our ability to have a white community. So we have to push back, and we have to go on the offense. They have an army directed against us, and we're all on our own. We absolutely want this to be an issue of public concern. We want the country talking about this, because this is a rhetorical battle that we can absolutely win. Many white nationalists want America as a whole to be white and for whites to be in charge. Most white Americans would take issue with that. Hardly anyone in the general public takes issue with the ability of a few white families to have their own community and mind their own business. No one has a problem with that. So this is a rhetorical battle.
It's almost like the loophole is it has to be a religious community, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding, is that if it's a religious community, you might be able to do it.
Listen, everybody, don't freak out. Don't call your lawyers, all right?
Where they are weak and we are strong. The more people know about this,
dude, those are some based white supremacist fucking
their own business.
Raspberries.
No
Look at that. Jews see this and just start crying.
Where they are weak
and hand rubbing.
We are strong. The more people know about this, the better. And mainstream media has contacted us. Major articles and pieces will be published very soon. It is absolutely time right now to fight back. And whatever happens to us, it's going to set a major precedent. Culturally as well.
Alabama Yeoman sent $5 on Rumble. Heights Christianity is the lube so / Europe analogy was great.
Yeah, I hope I want to play that clip. The rabbi, the Orthodox Chabad rabbi from Israel that was on the space the other day. It's that him and HT did like some analogy that Christianity is like lube bending you over to like be a Noahide or something, and the rabbi was like, "Yes, that's exactly what it is." It was maybe that'll be in the clip.
Now, if they sue us and we end up winning, that will embolden other people to form similar communities securely. We've been afraid to do things like this because of the Fair Housing Act, because of all the legislation that is targeted against us being able to preserve our own culture and identity. So if we win, that is good for all of us. It really could decide in the future, in America, can there be white communities or not? This question is now being forced into the public discourse. And again, I think that's very good because this is one of those rhetorical points that is super easy.
Yep. Bad move. Backfires on the kvetching.
People,
Or if they win again and shut it down.
even of race realism.
Because they got endless money for court cases.
Race and crime. We just have to convince people that we should have the right to do what we want on our own private land by ourselves. This is a First Amendment issue. This is a freedom issue. Do Americans have the right to have white communities? Or are they going to shut it down permanently? Now, many people care more about
White_Stag sent
immigration.
$5
That's
on Rumble. I got recently. I'll make it a non-profit. Then get some land and build a temple. Maybe link up with Neil.
There you go. Hey, Arvel's going to set the precedent. We can all have our pagan temple lands, our pagan utopias. Good one.
But the public is not totally against all immigration. In general, they slightly favor immigration restriction, but the idea that we shouldn't accept any non-whites into the country is still very radical.
As what sent $5 on Rumble. He looks like Octavian Augustus.
Augustus? Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. It's what Nick said when Nick watched the debate I had with him, and that was his whole commentary. He was like, he basically said, I won, and Arvel didn't do such a good job, but that he looked just like the Roman Emperor Octavian. Yeah, blood of our ancestors.
And most Americans don't agree with it. So that's a difficult battle to win. And also, even if we shut down immigration today, based on demographic patterns and fertility rates, whites would still become a minority. So even then, it would be very important that we secure the right to have our own white intentional communities so that our kids can grow up in white neighborhoods and not worry about racial tensions. Racial tensions happen when races are forced together. We don't want to deal with that. If we want recreational areas where we can be among our own people, not among foreign people who speak foreign languages, if that's what's coming.
See, they're called synagogues in like kosher areas, right? But then it's a Asatru, right? That pagan group. Do you have to be white to join that? Because it's a European ancestral faith? I'm not sure about that.
For us, we should have those recreational areas, and Return to the Land is facilitating that. We want to go around the country and organize white communities to make their own community centers. Some full-time residents, intentional communities, as well as campgrounds, recreational sites. We want to make sure that the white community in America has spaces for itself. Other groups want the same thing. And you don't have to be a white identitarian or even white to support what we're doing. We are fighting for the freedom of ordinary Americans to go their own way.
I read they got
We're against forced segregation. We're also against forced integration.
well.
And
We're
most
drinking
Americans,
well water over there in Arkansas.
in some ways, we have made progress in the last 10 years. Our talking points have gotten more sophisticated. We have networked in a way that's more resilient. But 40 years ago, there were white pride rallies.
Has anybody seen him on like any big podcast after this? I feel like he should be getting some media attention. I'm sure big accounts have been like tweeting about it, but has he been on any interviews with people?
That filled stadiums. David Duke was almost elected the governor of Louisiana. We are actually further away from concrete political change than we were in the 1980s or 1990s. On the other hand, we have new possibilities that are open to us.
Only Jesus can save us, Arvel. Come on. That's what the Christians think. He was on Red Ice a few weeks ago. That was probably before this scandal, though, right?
Tailsoft Levant sent $5 on Rumble. I would put all that land in a trust in order to protect it and then set bylaws and a constitution on what kind of people can live there.
Nice.
Have to act on them. And we don't have years to wait around. Right now, we have the most favorable courts we're ever going to have. Very likely. If this is going to come to court, we need it to come to court while Trump is in office, while the cultural climate is on our side.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's really a Christian. I just think he's trying to like get along with Christians, to be honest.
Also, just like they have people.
I'm curious how tall he is too. He kind of looks like he could be a short little dude.
Working full-time against
Arvel, height check on Arvel, please. Height check aisle 5.
People working full-time on our behalf. I'm the president of the PMA. I haven't taken any money in payment. I work a full-time job. Every week I work more than 50 hours.
I heard he said he's putting in his 2 weeks to do this full time now. I think he got a bunch of donations from this attention.
I would love to go around the country and facilitate getting community centers started, growing the PMA, vetting people in different areas, holding rallies to educate the public about these demographic issues and to raise concerns about the fate of white America. Many people simply won't learn about this stuff online. We have to go to the people. Just like they are trying to rally the public against us, we have to rally the public.
5-1. Don't mess around.
And
a little Napoleon.
are sympathetic. You know, I told my boss about the community because I figure someone's going to find who I work for and they're going to contact them. And he said, hey, you do what you want. You know, he wouldn't join the community. I didn't ask him, but he has no problem with that. And he has an adopted Asian kid.
It looks like he's gotten like 10,000 new followers on Twitter since this thing broke out. Because I just saw him on Red Ice like 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and he only had 17.
Other people at my work
now he has
found
27.
out about the X account and the community, and they're actually on my side. They're very positive about what I'm doing. Average white people like what we're doing, but they're not all on X following the big accounts we're following.
Arvel's optics are where it's got to be at. We need Arvel optics. I haven't seen everything he's ever done, so don't hold me to that completely, but he appears to have some good optics.
We have to organize on the ground. We have to grow this PMA. Just think what it would do for the white community in America if there were a dozen white community centers in all the major population hubs, the Pacific Northwest, Appalachia, Maine. There are white communities out there that don't have spaces. We need physical spaces where we can congregate, and it is within our legal rights to do that.
He's going to get them
And
Waco'd.
there are many possibilities.
No, he's not a religious cult like that. I don't think there's going to be a Waco situation.
Learned
Hopefully
a
not.
lot about how to legally structure things like this. I want to help people organize.
Could you imagine if Owen Benjamin Bertaria got Waco? They've compared him to Waco, and he tried to do something similar kind of with Bertaria. You just had to be a bear and a Christian, most likely. No, I think he's friends with some pagans. You just had to be a bear cultist to join a Bertaria. But they tried to shut that down too, even.
Is their own
Imagine if a Bertaria 2026 gets Waco'd. Just joking, Owen, all right? It's not a death threat, it's just a joke.
or trusts to hold land. I want them to find ways where they can develop community amenities
Listen,
and actually
everybody,
profit from
don't
it.
freak out, don't call
People
your
can
lawyers,
enjoy
right?
the amenities, and investors can actually make money by building things that will benefit our race in the long run.
Uh-oh,
We have to
Ponzi
get active.
scheme.
We have to
Be a
put our
founder of the white
resources
ethno state.
behind our struggle. I want to do far more. Unfortunately, I don't have the time. If you want us to fight back against the us, I need support. We will need legal support. But currently, myself, as the president of the PMA, I am not able to even keep up with all of the hit pieces they're writing about us. We've shown that we as a community are able to raise significant amounts of money when someone needs it. We helped Shiloh Hendricks, and I think that's a great thing. Right now,
He's like, give me $500,000 like Hendrix got.
if you want...
He should. In fact, it's what's sad is that girl probably, she just said the N-word and gave a middle finger and raised, was it like almost $1 million or $500,000? I don't remember exactly, but he's like, dude, he needs to get that level of stuff. He deserves it way more than she did, that's for sure.
me to fight on behalf of RTTL and set the precedent that we can have white communities in the future in America, please help me. There's a Give, Send, Go that you can donate to. I've been making pro-white content
We'll see where it's at.
over a decade. You can go back and see my track record. I'm well known in these circles. So you know that I will use these resources to continue doing what I have been doing. There will be more content, also more in real life organization, more communities. And I fully intend to tour the country holding rallies, organizing community land buys, organizing community center foundations. It's something that absolutely has to be done, and we can't wait for it. As we do this, more attention will come our way, and more ordinary white Americans will want in. A lot of people are sick of going to public parks, the river, the beach, and encountering totally alien people and feeling alienated in their own community where they grew up, where their parents are from. They're tired of it. They want their own spaces. They're just not emboldened to say so. We've been on our back foot. We've been cowering and hiding for...
Can you build some water parks? Question. Sorry, the water parks, South Park thing. I was at a water park and noticed it. Noticed the situation at the water park in SoCal. And then there was the South Park music video about the water park.
Too long. It is time to fight back, and I want to lead that fight as far as I possibly can with RTTL, with new organizations. I want to work with other groups. Multiple groups should collaborate in rallies around the country. We're going to do it, and I promise you it will happen if I'm able to quit my job. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time. So please, if you can afford anything, donate It is an exceptionally important battle to fight. It's one that we can win, and it's one that's happening right now. There is no time to wait. We need to fight back and declare our independence as white Americans.
Let's see where he's at. Hold on, I want to pull this up and see where he's at on the GoFundMe. He's looking for $100,000, I suppose, for the court cases, or just to expand, or so he can travel around and try to raise awareness and raise more money. $28,000 so far for Eric Orwell. All right. Godspeed. Good luck. Here's Trump talking about Shylocks. Funny segue. ADL's mad about this too. Sure, he just bombed Iran. Sure, he's making anti-Semitism illegal. Sure, he's putting rabbis at the head of the anti-Semitism czar. Sure, him and Bibi are best friends, and he gets all the top. Ivanka married Jared Kushner. Sure, he did your anti-Semitism executive order and the anti-BDS laws, but you know, he used a word that the ADL is not happy with. Shylocks. A word that really hasn't been in my vocabulary, now that I think of it. I don't know that I've ever called anybody a Shylock. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the movie. It's from a movie, right? Or is it Shakespeare? What is it? Venice Merchant or something? Let me look at that up.
But if you love them, or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. But if
Merchant of Venice, William Shakespeare. I got it. That's what I
you
said,
love
right?
them, or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate.
Do I need to watch that movie? Is that some lore I should need to know? The Shylock and mention Merchant of Venice. Is there a remake of that? Anybody got a link for a YouTube remake of that or something? Maybe there's like a 60s version.
From, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people.
Shylocks.
But if you love them, or
So
if you love
funny.
somebody that you
Trump claims he didn't know what that was. He just thought that was a term for a greedy banker. Trump, have you not got the memo?
Stereotyping Jews is terrible.
It's a hilarious word. ADL says the term Shylock evokes a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope about that is extremely offensive and dangerous. Trump's use of the term is very troubling and irresponsible. It underscores how lies and conspiracies about deeply entrenched in our own country. So deeply entrenched even in our language and our nomenclature, huh? Words from our leaders matter, and we expect more from the President of the United States. Pretty funny. Okay, we're at 2 hours. I got so much Christian stuff. I think I'm going to save it for Friday. Tomorrow we have... Did we hit the goal? We did. Thank you so much. We got the goal. You guys are amazing. Awesome show.
Thank you. Thank you.
You made the goal. You weren't a bunch of Shylocks today. You helped with the goal. We'll be back tomorrow with Laurent Guyenot, getting into everything, covering everything. And then I will be back on Friday to pick up where I left off here on the Christian question stuff. What did I put in the title? On the God of Zion segment. Oh, I just realized I misspelled it. I put Gog of Zion. Everybody's like, when you get into the Gog of Zion part, what's the Gog of Zion? Anyway, I got a bunch of Christian stuff and clips and stuff I want to go over. Memes, the Christian problem, the Christian question, the Zionist question. I'll play the clips from this rabbi if you haven't seen it already. All types of Christian stuff to get to. All types. And then there'll probably be even more too I can add for it. We'll do a deep dive. Here's Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, colorized. How it actually went down. Play some of these. The Christian question, the Christian problem, the green pills are flowing. I think we covered it all now.